it's Troy Trigg with Trapping with Triggs. Today we're doing an instructional video for you. We're going to show you how to prep traps prior to using them. When you get the traps from the manufacturer distributor, there's a few things you have to do to prep them before you can use them for trapping. So I want to show you what all you're going to need to do this. You definitely need some gloves. Don't ever want to touch your traps. We need gloves to protect while we're doing all this, but you don't want to touch your traps once they're scent locked. So you got gloves, got my eye protection because we're dealing with muriatic acid today. I've got a metal coat hanger where I pick my traps up with, but you can use anything that you could, finagle to where you can get the traps to come out. Also, this is your trap dye. Longwood trap dye is what I use. This packet right here is good for about 3 dozen traps. You can see I've been using it. We'll use about half of that today. You also want wax, non-scented wax. It's a 5-pound pack. This is my third, so 5 pounds is lasting me probably 2 or 3 dozen traps. You got a pot. Here's the wax from the last pot. So we'll use that and then we'll add to it today. Want muriatic acid? I'll tell you what that's for. That's used to get the coating, manufacturer oily coating off. This is old turkey fryer we used to use. Obviously, once you start using it for dye, it's ruined. You can only use it for that, but I can do my traps. So we'll put them in here with the dye. You also need warm tap water right here, okay? Just warm tap water, no big deal. And then on the traps, don't have any new traps, but what I did is I'm taking 3 or 4 of my old traps and I'm redoing them, so I'm getting the wax and the dye off of them, and we do them for purposes to show you guys how to do it. So we're gonna do these traps today. You can see I've got 4 in there. So we're gonna do those traps today, okay? And then you also need a burner. We're gonna have to heat up the dye. We're gonna have to heat up the wax. And that's pretty much everything you need. You want a piece of cardboard or something that you can lay the traps down so they don't mess your driveway or wherever you're at it, okay? Okay guys, so the first step in prepping your trap is to get the oily manufacturing off. In this case, these are used traps. So we're gonna get this dye off and we're gonna get the wax off of these traps, okay? So what we're gonna do is you need your eye protection, you need your gloves because we're dealing with muriatic acid. So I've got about 4 gallons of hot water in here and I've got about 1/3 of this muriatic acid left. So I'm gonna pour the rest of it in. You gotta be real careful because it'll splash back and this acid's toxic. You can also breathe it in, so you wanna get it in there as good and as quick as possible. And then what you do is you take your traps, we're gonna let them sit in this stuff for about 2 or 3 hours, and it's gonna get all of that stuff off and that water will turn black. It'll be totally stripped. So I'm gonna put the traps in there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the traps in there and it's gonna start bubbling. You all, if you were standing there 5 or 10 minutes, you'd already see it, but it's gonna bubble. We'll come back in about 1 hour or 2 and we'll take them out and we'll leave them out there and they literally rust before your eyes. So we'll let them oxidize for 2 or 3 hours, and then this afternoon we'll dye them first and then we'll wax them, okay? Hey guys, okay, so the traps, the 4 traps we've got have been in this muriatic acid about 2.5 hours, and you can see all of the gunk and the dye and all the oil, the wax and everything that's coming off of them. So what we're gonna do now, obviously you gotta use your gloves and use your eye protection. I can't stress to you how important that is when you're dealing with an acid combination. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these traps out of here and I'm gonna go set them over there on those stones, and we're gonna leave them out for about 2 hours, 3 hours, and they'll start rusting, and then we'll be ready. That acid drip off a little bit. And you see how they were black from the dye, now they're completely back to the metal with the oil off. So we're gonna bring them over here. I'm gonna set them out for a couple of hours and then they'll start rusting, oxidation, and that'll be good to get the dye in the trap and be able to sit like it. It'll help. Careful around this ass. But look, on that, we got them all. Like that for a couple hours, let them rust. start oxidizing, and then we'll do the trap dye. Okay guys, so we've let these traps sit out here for about 2.5 or 3 hours, and like I told you, you can literally see it rust before your eyes, that oxidation from that muriatic acid. So we're going to take all 4 of these, take them over there, set them down, and we'll get the dye pipe ready. Okay, notice I got my gloves on, never touch the traps. So this is your longwood dye. I was telling you this whole pack is doing about 3 dozen. I've done about 2 dozen. So we're going to use the rest of this on these 4 traps. But you just take the dye and we're going to put it in water. It's going to be boiling. Once the water starts boiling, then we're going to take the traps and drop them in the dye. They'll turn solid color. Okay, so we got the traps ready. We've got the dye boiling. So what we're going to do now is take our traps, drop them in here nice and slowly. We're going to leave them in there about 5 minutes in that boiling water. Just get your gloves on. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, it's easier if you got 2 burners. I do not. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to set it right here. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to heat up the wax. You see guys, the old wax from last time, and then I added another pound in there, okay? So it's probably 3 pounds of wax. We're gonna crank it up. We don't wanna burn it, we wanna just melt it, and as soon as we melt it, we'll pull the traps out of the dye, set them there, and then they'll be ready to go into the wax. Hey, a little quick deal here while we're waiting on the wax to melt. You wanna get these connectors. This is the wire that you connect to the trap. And what you do is you take your stake and you put it right down the center of the hole and you punch it all the way down there, and it'll get to the thing, and when you pull up, this turns sideways and it anchors it, and nothing's pulling that out. So those are the kind of anchors you use, okay? Okay, what we're gonna do now, we've got 4 traps in this dye. The wax is completely melted, so we're gonna take these traps out and we'll set them on here for about 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to let them cool off just a little bit, but we're going to keep them hot. And by doing that, they're hot, the metal won't stick. The wax won't stick to it, okay guys? So what's going to happen is the wax, we'll dip it in the wax after we lay it on the ground for 5 minutes. We'll pull it up and you won't even be able to see the wax. Just drip off and then we'll leave them to dry overnight. See how black they are? Versus the rusted metal that we just had. Totally dyed, ready to go. And the traps I use too for coyotes is trap number 2s, and I like Duke number 2s is my favorite set. That's what these are. These are Duke number 2s. It's perfect for coyote, fox, bobcat, that type of animal. Of course, we're mainly going for coyotes, trying to clear out some of the coyotes so they don't kill our turkeys. And we're having fun while we do it. Okay, so we're going to take these traps. They've been out here about 5 minutes. They're still very, very hot. We're going to take them and we're going to drop them in the wax one at a time. And then I'm going to have to flip them. So it's in the wax. Could have probably put more in there, but with 4, I didn't want to waste it. So you do that, and then I'm going to end up flipping it over, making sure that the whole thing gets waxed. So, all of it's got wax on it. When I pull it out, you won't even be able to see that it's got wax. And the reason why is because I had the traps were hot when I dropped them in the hot wax, so it doesn't glob up on them. Okay? So look, you can't even see the wax. You let it drip off, and what that wax does is it holds in all the dye, and it holds in and it scent locks it. So it'll be good for a year, maybe 2, depending on how much I use it. So we're going to put that one right there. Third trap right here. Take it in there. I put it with the bottom in. Look. Put it with the bottom in, and then I'll flip it over. Okay? And if you got enough wax, like I said, I didn't want to waste the wax for free. Flip it over. and then I'll pull it out by that strong drag. Okay, so that is how you prep a trap, okay? You dye it and you wax it and you get it ready to put out in the field, coyotes, foxes, whatever you want to do. So here is our 4 traps waxed. You can see they're black from when they're dyed. You really can't even see the wax on them. So those are 4 good looking traps, and depending on how much you use them, I might be able to get a year out of them before I have to do it again, or maybe even 2, just depending, okay? So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. Get these kids outside, get them having stuff, and y'all stay safe during the coronavirus.